Good morning, good morning, good morning everyone. Excited to be back here with you again this morning. So this is the first time we've decided to go live, and really excited about doing this for a live audience this time rather than just a Zoom audience. So we're excited. Hope you will all join us, and we're focusing on the PowerPoint here, so I'm not sure if you can see me or not, but we do hope you can see the PowerPoint and you're able to hear me clearly. If you can hear me clearly, use your emojis, show me that you can see and you can hear me all right, if you will. So today we're going to talk about finding the main idea, and this is really a critical idea for readers. Those readers who can't find the main idea often miss the point. Right. So the main idea is the point, and readers have got to get the main idea or they miss the whole thing. And so today we'll think about how we can empower our readers to understand exactly how to get the main idea. First, we're gonna define the main idea. We'll talk about what it is and what it's not, what it's supposed to do, and then we'll look at locating the main idea in passage. So, not only looking at where it's located, but why it may be located. So, if a reader can understand what kind of passage they're looking at, or what section of an article, then they can look at where the main idea may be for that passage. Then we'll look at some specific student strategies to help empower their success and make sure that they have the tools that they need so that they can find the main idea easily. And then we'll end with a quick note on clear communication. So go ahead and like the page, follow the page, share the page. Share this out with your friends who may find this helpful, and we'll go ahead and get started here now. So first, we want to talk about what is the main idea. We're going to think about what it does, how it's built, and what it is not. So the main idea is the point. Notice the first picture that we showed is a compass. So the main idea, it gives us our direction. It shows us where we're going, and it orients the reader so that they know which direction the writer is taking them. And so what it does is orient us in the passage. When we see the main idea, then we can understand all the other points that follow behind it. The main idea needs to have some certain things. It needs to have a topic, and it needs to have some ways, maybe some controlling ideas, or some components that help us understand how the rest of the paragraph or the passage will be developed. However, it's not the topic. So it's important that readers understand that the main idea will contain the topic, but it's not the topic. And we can see this pretty clearly in the graphic here. The first sentence says, I've got problems. I lost my job. My wife left me. My friends don't return my phone calls. Even my dog won't go for a walk with me. And we can see here the first sentence says, I've got problems. And this is the main idea. The topic, though, is not the main idea. They're different. And we can see the other four sentences back up or support that first sentence. And so this is a well-constructed passage. We've got our main idea that's clear, and it's followed by clear support. And so the main idea offers the point, right? It provides a topic, and it orients us to what we're going to be reading about. The main idea then can be seen as perhaps as the umbrella idea. It overshadows, it kind of binds or covers everything that we're going to be talking about. The topic, on the other hand, is that one central point. It's that the key piece that the passage is about. And often we can think about the topic as being maybe the title, or the one or two words that are important for a passage. So when we think about where do we find the main idea, there's three, perhaps four ways of finding, or places to find the main idea. The main idea in our first example was found at the very top. It was the very first sentence. And so some writers offer the main idea as the very first sentence, followed by support, and then, if they're a good writer, they'll offer a concluding sentence. Some authors start with introductory material. They may have a story, they may have some statistics, or some kind of introductory material, and then they come to the main idea. And then they follow that with the support, and then they conclude. So often the main idea is located at the top of the passage. This is perhaps mostly true, or this could be true in a body paragraph, or an introduction paragraph. Sometimes, however, the main idea is in the middle. And so in more creative writing, then we may find the main idea in the middle, where an author may want to create suspense. And so the author builds up the tension, then puts the main idea, and then attempts to explicate it in some way throughout the rest of the passage. This is more difficult for students or readers to find. It takes more energy to find, and for technical or academic writing, the middle is not the best place because it doesn't provide a clear way for readers to understand. Also, a writer may put the main idea at the very bottom. They may use the main idea as perhaps a concluding sentence, and so they introduce their material and support it, and then conclude with it, wrap it all up. In my opinion, this is perhaps one of the most confusing, because we have all these details that then are later summarized in the main idea. I think when we're teaching writers to write, the best way to teach them to write is to have them introduce the main idea at the beginning, and then come back in the concluding sentence and reintroduce that with their concluding point. And so maybe one of the best ways of thinking about where the main idea is or should be could be thinking about it at the top and the bottom. So for students, or readers, if they'll look for it at the first sentence or at the ending sentence, generally you can get a good idea of where the main idea is by looking at these 2 points, because often an author is trying to introduce their idea to you so that you understand what the reader will understand, and then at the bottom they'll want to conclude and summarize that so that the reader has something to go away with. Next, we want to look at several strategies, and here I have a passage for you to kind of view and items highlighted. But what's really important is for readers to differentiate the content of a passage. Sometimes I'll talk to my students about outlining a passage. So if they can take all the information and put it in some system, some organization, well, then they can understand better how it works. And sometimes you have to teach students to do this kind of physically, but as they do it, their brains begin to do it kind of naturally. And so what you see here is you have introductory material, and then you have a general idea. All the other ideas then following begin to support, and so those ideas are more specific. And so if we teach readers to look for the organization of the ideas, and they can look for specific details to general ideas, well then the general ideas are your main ideas. they're the umbrella. Remember we talked about the main idea as being an umbrella concept. And so if they can differentiate specific versus general, well then they can more easily grasp the main idea by finding that general idea and then locking into the specific details and thinking about how those ideas support the general idea. This is really helpful for them to gain comprehension, because if they can organize all the sentence and put them into some scheme about how things are working and what each sentence is trying to do, well then they gain greater understanding about the content, and they understand the passage better, and they can get deeper meaning. A second strategy is to find and use the topic. Right? So often there's a title to the passage, and we can find that kind of repeated throughout a passage. So if you know what the topic is, then we can start looking for how that is developed, that topic is developed out throughout the passage. So in the passage that I have sampled here, we have the topic highlighted. You can see it's repeated. And in the first sentence, you can see that main idea, and then each of the following sentences then begin to explain that in more detail. So if you can find the topic will generally be located in the main idea, and then you can use that topic to understand how the rest of the passage is supporting that main idea and the topic by extension. A final strategy is to use keywords. This is a bit more, and these are not all. So what I've listed here are provided are some sample list words and addition words, and these are often included in a main idea so that the reader understands that there are several things coming up. And so when a writer writes kinds of or ways of, well then we know that the following passage is going to be organized by those kinds or those ways or those causes or those factors, and that we're going to have multiple. Often there'll be an identifier before, so maybe 5 kinds of or 2 reasons for. And so if a student will pay attention to that, then these list words, well then they're able to then look in the passage for those reasons or those effects, and it gives greater meaning and helps them kind of organize the passage to comprehend it better and put things together in its place, but also isolate out that main idea and link it to its specific support and see how the author is presenting information to them. In addition to list words, there's additional words, right? So this is internal passage structure, and it's the way that we're making these transitions from one support to the next. And so while list words may be in the main idea, the addition words are what are used to organize the supporting ideas. And so this is not all of them, but these are some addition words that you can begin with and start looking for, but you can look for these type of words to help you understand how a passage is organized, what the main idea is, and how it relates to those subsequent ideas. Finally, we want to think about clear communication, right? The reason we write, the reason we read is to understand. And so good writers and good speakers will make a clear point. They'll support that point with specific details. Good readers and good listeners will strive to recognize that point, and they'll recognize the support for the point and be able to differentiate these things so that they can use that information well. Well, we appreciate you coming in. Thank you for watching, listening. We ask that you share this with people who may benefit from it. And thank you again. We'll see you Tuesday. We hope you enjoyed it.